It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Introducing new PANADO Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Thank you so much for keeping it dialed in. We're now turning our attention to our little ones, our snotty little ones, because it is that time of the year. Babies are not being able to speak. It often makes it that much harder to soothe their pain and fever when they've got a cold or flu. And no need to panic, though, I'm saying, because pediatrician Dr. Rabeen Lachman is here to guide us through caring for a sick baby in the cold and flu edition. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure, and this is something that I think all parents have to go through, this kind of crisis at some point where you want to protect your little one, but they're also going through that immune-building phase where they just, it seems like they are sick all the time. Enter them into a creche, and then it becomes this endless cycle. We use these terms cold and flu like they are two separate things. I kind of blanket them all as one, but what is the difference essentially between a cold and then the flu?
Okay, so yes, definitely we've just come through quite a cold season this past winter. So a cold is basically a viral infection of the upper respiratory tract system. Okay. And the upper respiratory tract system is starting from the nose all the way to the back of the throat, up to the voice box.
Okay.
And there are a number of viruses that can cause a cold. And the symptoms of this cold is just a snotty nose, a bit of a sneeze, a sore throat, and maybe a low-grade fever.
Okay.
Flu, the word flu actually comes from influenza. And influenza is one of these viruses that causes these symptoms. And the influenza virus can actually cause the little one to be quite ill. It's a little bit more of an exaggerated cold, coupled with a bit of a headache, nausea, vomiting, quite a bit of muscle pain, body pain. So it's just a little bit more.
Well, there's a reason why we joke about the man flu, because it can hit you hard.
It can hit you hard.
And that's, I suppose, another element of heartbreak for me is when I see my little ones going through that. And you know, it's very difficult to just at least help them feel better.
Yes.
There is always the danger that it's going to progress into something that can be worse. And I know that no child is the same, and everyone's medical journey is going to be slightly different. But at what point should we be making contact with our pediatrician and taking them in to get treatment?
Okay, so I think in the initial phase, it's definitely important for you to manage it at home, you know. Try and get those nasal passages clean, doing a lot of nasal irrigation and getting those secretions out, and then trying to manage the fever at home. And we'll talk a lot about fever in a bit. But when it starts to progress, then you need to get in touch with your doctor, your GP, or your pediatrician. And these things include whether the fever is persisting for more than 3 days. Okay. Or in little ones, feeding is very important. So if there are any signs of poor feeding or refusing to feed.
Your appetite does go.
Yes, yeah. Refusing to feed or persistently vomiting, that's definitely a poor sign, and you need to go in to your doctor and have your little one checked out. The other sign that you need to look out for is the baby's breathing. Any issues with breathing, you need to get checked out. Okay, whether it is fast breathing, difficult breathing, noisy breathing, raspy, you got to get in, get checked out. I always explain to my patients, look at the rib cage, look at how it's moving in and out, and if it's moving deeply in and out, you've got to make your way to the ER.
Makes me want to cry just thinking about it. Now, my son was prone to croup, where it was amazing how quickly things could escalate. One thing, a moment it was fine, the next minute you're in casualty.
Yes.
It's terrifying as a parent. So I know I make light of this, but I understand that it can be terrifying in the moment, and certainly awful for our little ones. I've learned so much as a parent on paracetamol. It just feels like it's a safe option and one of those few things that can at least help your child feel better. How should it be used, and why is it so effective in this space, do you think?
So paracetamol is a very important drug, and it's a very useful drug in managing fever. And I think for a young parent or a new parent, you've got to be very good at managing fever and managing it effectively, because you've got to get that little one to be feeling a little bit better in order to feed and in order to drink. So paracetamol is really your go-to drug. It's your first-line drug, and there's very different formulations that you can use to administer to your baby. Different tastes and textures and different routes of administration of the paracetamol.
Yeah, a nicely flavored syrup. It's the way to go, man. It really is the way to go. Doctor, thank you so much. I know this is a crazy time of the year from you, so thank you on behalf of all parents for doing what you do. We really do love and appreciate you, and thank you so much for your time this morning. I think one of the links that I didn't really make prior to this was the connection to the diet and the taking in moisture. Just like us, if we want to boost our immune system and attack a cold, your body needs to be strong. So if you notice those changes, not just in behavior, but in the breathing, in the diet, how your child is behaving, because you know them ultimately better than anyone else, then I would always say seek out your pediatrician. We may not always have all of the answers, but it's important to know that help is available. And if you have any more questions about your baby's health, please reach out to your doctor right now, and I wish you well.
There are those who care for others, ask nothing in return, but might be in need of some care themselves. If you feel that someone in your community deserves some recognition for all they do, then PANADO can't wait to hear from you. Simply reply to the Afternoon Express Facebook and Twitter pages, tell us who they are, what they do for their community, and why they should receive some care with the hashtag #ADoseOfCare and the hashtag PANADOSA. They can stand a chance of winning a dose of care to the value of 5,000 Rand from PANADO. Afternoon Express will then add another 5,000 Rand towards the charity or nominee of choice, so they too can share in some care. Don't miss the PANADO hashtag #ADoseOfCare competition running from the 1st of August right through to the 15th of November on Afternoon Express. T's and C's apply.